Good morning, Monarch citizens. Good morning to all the Melanin Monarch citizens out there. Today is Sunday. It is June 22nd, 2025, and we are starting our Strategy Sunday Summer Series. All right, SSSSS. You guys, I like to have fun with it. I think that life should be fun, and we're going to have fun with these Sunday strategy series that we're doing every Sunday for the remainder of the summer. So it's going to bless you. It's going to encourage you wherever you are, whenever you are. This is going to serve to work for you. Now, the reason why we're doing this on a Sunday is because Sunday is the first day of the week. I know we've been trained as children to believe that Monday is the first day of the week, but remember what I said, Monday is the first work day of the week. The aristocracy back then didn't know what a work weekend was. Remember in Downton Abbey, the Dowager said, "What is a weekend?" And so we here at Melanin Monarchy, I believe that we all rule and reign over our dominion. So we start on Sundays because Sundays is the first day of the week. If you're starting on Monday, then you're already behind. Remember, Sunday was yesterday in Australia, okay? So we're gonna start on Sunday and we're going to get our week going with a strategy. Now, the philosophy behind this is the Strategy Sundays comes from Proverbs chapter 21, verse 6. And this is out of the Message Bible. And it says, strategic planning is the key to warfare. To win, you need a lot of good counsel. So we at Melanin Monarchy want to be a part of that good counsel that you receive, not just entertainment, not just about a commentary and reviewing, but also giving you quality and valuable information. Now, strategy, what is strategy? Strategy is a planned approach to your desired goal. Remember that strategy is a planned approach to your desired goal. No longer are we going to allow our week to take us wherever it wants to take us, wrap up in a whirlwind by default. And believe you me, that there is a default setting on your life, and we want to change that. We want to change that default setting into a winning strategy. Now, your default setting on your life is made up of your habits, which are made up of your past actions. And your past actions are made up of your mindset. And your mindset is made up of your thoughts, which are birthed in your belief system. So your thoughts are birthed in your belief system. And there is a war for our belief system. They're not just a war going on around the world. There's a war on your belief system. So being strategic helps us win our week and get out of the default setting and get out of those default outcomes. All right, so you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get into it right now. For today, for June 22nd, 2025, the strategy for this Sunday is keep the promises that you made to yourself. I repeat, keep the promises that you made to yourself. All right, now what keeping the promises to yourself, this is a process of building self-confidence, right? This is going to not only build self-confidence, it's going to build other things. But what I actually got this from Ed Mylett. Ed Mylett is a motivational speaker. He's also a businessman. He's all on YouTube. And a few years ago, I heard him say this before, and so I'm just going to read a little bit of a quote. This is just kind of summing it up. It's not the whole of what he said. If you're interested, definitely go on YouTube and look him up. But one of the quotes he said was, the process of building self-confidence is actually very easy. Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself, that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you made to yourself. Okay, so we have three things here. What keeping your promises to yourself does, it builds, and it builds in three different areas. And quickly, we're going to go over those three different areas. But I wrote this down because I feel like these areas, what these areas are going to do, these building blocks, what they're going to do is they're going to build a superior you, and they're going to build an improved you. So keeping the promises to yourself builds you, is going to build a superior you, and is going to build and improve you. So here are the 3 areas that keeping the promises to yourself does. It builds your self-confidence, as I mentioned before. Self-confidence is the internal feeling that you're certain of your abilities and your qualities, that you can do the possible. I'll repeat it. Self-confidence is the internal feeling that you are certain of your abilities and your qualities, that you can do the possible. Okay. Now, what the second building block of keeping the promises to yourself is that it builds self-trust. And when you build self-trust, it allows you to know that there is a built-in belief system that you can accomplish the impossible. So it builds self-trust because it allows you to know that there is a built-in belief system that you can accomplish the impossible. So that's building block number 2. And building block number 3 is that it builds a reputation. Okay? It builds your reputation. It builds a reputation that you have with yourself that proves that you are unstoppable. All right? So self-confidence is the building block that builds, let me go back here, that has the internal feeling that you're certain of your abilities and your qualities, that lets you know that you can do what's possible. Okay? Self-confidence lets you know what you can do, what's possible. And then self-trust, right? Self-trust allows you to know that there's a built-in belief system that you can do the impossible. And what building a reputation with yourself, keeping the promises to yourself, it builds a reputation within yourself that proves that you are unstoppable. So those are the 3 building blocks of keeping the promises to yourself. Let's go back to the issue of trust, right? I recognize that a lot of us have trust issues. And not only do we have trust issues, we're just suspicious of everybody. We just have a spirit of suspicion. We're just suspicious. I know, because I've been there too. This is something personal. I'm coming from experience, you guys. These are things that I've applied to my life, and these are things that I have done. I'm not telling you anything that I haven't or I am not going through myself, or I'm not utilizing myself. So I get it that we don't trust a lot, and we're become suspicious of people because, truth be told, people have done a lot of rotten, awful, terrible, backstabbing things, right? They've done that. That's not an excuse. It's just an observation. So I understand that a lot of us have trust issues. However, could it be that you don't trust others, or you have a hard time trusting others, is because you don't trust yourself? And the reason why you don't trust yourself is because you don't keep the promises that you make to yourself, okay? Now, here is something I want us to think about. What does keeping promises to yourself look like? So what does keeping promises to yourself look like? Okay. A promise, first let's talk about what a promise is. A promise is a declaration, whether it's spoken, verbally, or internally, that a particular thing will be done. So that's what a promise is. A promise is a spoken, right? It's a declaration spoken verbally or internally that something will be done. And we know that a promise can be made internally because there is a woman with the issue of blood. She said within herself. So we know that it's both spoken verbally, spoken out loud, and it's also spoken internally in here. That's what a promise is. Now, how you know you're making a promise, because I know a lot of you are thinking, well, I don't make promises. I really don't make promises. But here's a check. Here's a check if you are making promises, and a lot of us do this. When you start your sentences off with, I am going to, I will, I intend to, I plan to, I have to, I must, anything in the I am lineage, then that's part of the promise. And that also includes I'm fixing to, I'm fitting to, I'm about to, the vernacular that's similar to the Queen's English. Those words, starting off any statement with those words, will hold you accountable to a promise, because rest assured, promise is coming after those words. So that's the check. If you start a sentence off with any of those things, then you are about to make a promise. The promise is that the thing is, the reason why we don't realize that we're making promises is because we really don't listen to ourselves. We really don't. We don't listen to ourselves, nor do we respect the words that come out of our mouth. And so that's why we haphazardly make promises out in the atmosphere, and we don't know that we're making promises. But now this week, we're going to check. We're going to be mindful, and we're going to check about those particular words that we start a sentence off and what we say. Okay. Now, what prevents us from keeping the promises to ourselves? Because I hear you guys, I hear you, and you're thinking, yeah, I do that. I don't mean to do that. But then I do purposely make promises, and I don't realize that I haven't kept a promise. I don't realize until, days later, weeks later, months later, years later, I don't remember. But here is the reason why you are, what's stopping you from keeping a promise, what holds you up from keeping a promise to yourself, which is more important. Well, I think it's equal to the promises that you keep to other people, because it is your word. But you got to start off by keeping the promises to yourself. I think we neglect ourselves. We keep our promises to other people, but we don't keep our promises to ourselves. But here is what keeps you from keeping a promise to yourself, more so than to other people. Now, this list is not all inclusive. This is just things that Monique, your monarch, have experienced why I don't keep the promises to myself. Okay? Laziness, unbelief, fear, distractions, lack of knowledge, bad counsel, and believe you me, you can be your own bad counsel. Bad counsel, impatience, stubbornness, ego, arrogance, the whole pride family. Anything in the pride family that will keep you from keeping your promises. Sleep and comfort. Okay, so you guys go back, rewatch this video, and get all of those things that keeps you from keeping the promises to yourself. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to recap the 3 builds that when you keep the promises to yourself, it builds you. It builds a better you. It builds let me go back here so I can get it. It builds a superior you, and it builds an improved you. Keeping the promises to yourself builds a superior you, and it builds a improved you. And the 3 building blocks in keeping the promises to yourself is that it builds self-confidence, which says that you can do what's possible. Okay. Second is that it builds self-trust, that says that you have a belief system within yourself that you can do the impossible. And third building block is that it builds a reputation that you have with yourself, that you are unstoppable. All right. So those are the 3 things. And this is how we are going to win this week. I can't wait to hear all of your comments, hear everything that you have to say as far as these particular strategy Sundays that we're going through. I'm excited about it. But this particular strategy of keeping the promises to yourself for this week is going to help you win the week and help you celebrate victory at the end of your week. All right, you guys, I love you with the love of the Lord. Tito Pet.